Good morning once again. My name is Priva Elibaz. Thank you so much for watching Sunrise at Sea. We're in the final part of our show, but before we actually look into the topic that we're going to be discussing today, allow me to request you to actually, connect with us on our social media platforms. That is Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CTV Uganda. Of course, we do stream live also on our website at www.ctv.co.ug. So today, we're going to be looking at infantilization. It might be a foreign term, you've probably never heard of it, but just, to give a brief definition, infantilization is when an adult is being treated like a child, even though nothing about their mental, physical, social, and intellectual well-being requires such treatment. Now, oftentimes, parents, of course, are guilty of this to some degree as their children are growing up, and in particular, that stage where they're teenagers and, adolescence is kicking in, and they're basically trying to forge their own path. However, infantilization can also happen in our other interpersonal relationships. Let's say maybe with your friends or with your own relationships or even at work. So it can manifest in so many ways. And joining me at the center of this conversation are the beautiful ladies Apollo Sarah, Agi Uwase, and Shivan Auma. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
How are you? I see Agi smiling. She's so proud of me. I got the name.
Wait, Sarah said I look 16. I mean, who wouldn't want to look 16? So yeah,
that's what Kim Kardashian said. Like she would be able to consume something if she knew, if it was proven that it would actually, keep her young. So ladies, the very first question I'm going to pose to you, yes, is infantilization something that is deliberate? Is it subconscious? Or people actually doing it because they're actually coming from a good place?
No, I think it is a subconscious act because you're not going to intentionally treat somebody like a child. I think it's subconscious and also may stem from a place of disrespect. You don't have respect for this person. So you're going to talk to them like as though they are a child. Although, again, I'd like to put a disclaimer. You should not talk to your children with disrespect. It's very important because when you talk to your children with disrespect, they're going to grow up to be disrespectful people or have low self-esteem issues. But going back to what you asked, I think it just stems from a place of people just, number one, you don't have respect for the person, so you're going to talk to them as if they are little and immature, or it can also stem from a place of you're just a bad communicator.
Yeah, you don't know what
you get.
Yes.
Or it also could stem from a place that you're just controlling as a person, and you just like to control every narrative, every situation, and every environment that you're in. Yeah.
For me, I think that it might actually come from a good place if it's, let's say, your children, because sometimes you want to make sure they are following through with what they are supposed to do. So of course, the moment you do it today, tomorrow, you might find you're doing it every other day, and it becomes a part of you. But also, I think for some people, especially if you're an adult, you're in a relationship and you are infantilizing some other person, I think it comes with insecurities. You're probably you think this person is too good for you. Have you been in a relationship where you look at someone, you look at who they are, their status, everything, you're like, man, this person is too good for me. So immediately you get insecure and you feel like not every other day, but anytime soon, they could take that person away from you. So what you start being very controlling. If they are going out, who are you going out with? What are you doing? All that. That's infantilizing someone. It's like they don't know what they are doing. If I've communicated and I've told you I've gone out with my friends, I'll be back home at this time. Trust me for that. But if you are keeping tabs at everything I'm doing this, you didn't shower like this, you didn't do, all these kinds of things.
You did shower like this.
Those are trivia things. But yes, it also comes to that. And also the other thing, I think it comes with people who have OCD. Obsessive compulsive disorder, because they want things to be the way they want them to be. If I wear my jacket this way, you want it to be the other way. You understand? So it comes from a place of you and how you want your things to be done, and you want the other person to comply to that. Yeah. So that's what I would think.
Oh yes, Shivan.
Infertilization, I would say one comes from, I think it's a subconscious thing for very many people.
Okay.
And I would say for others, it comes from a place of love. Especially when it comes to being involved in a cross-generational relationship. That is why I do not concur with people that are involved in this. But if some of the things that actually come with being involved in a cross-generational relationship is that, especially if it's a man, he will definitely want to control you as a woman, forgetting that he has probably lived his youthful days and gone out to all the parties, and he forgets the fact that you are actually still a young person and he needs to allow you to evolve and develop. So for very many people, I do not think this is something that they will see coming. It will come from a point of love, and for others, they don't even know that they're doing it. It's not until you speak out and you say, you know what, you treat me a certain type of way, you treat me like I'm a child, I need you to trust me, I need you to trust that when I tell you I am going to, for example, see TV, and I'm going to spend this amount of work at a time, do not constantly call me to find out, are you really there? Don't go to the extent of, you know, stealing my phone and putting a locator in my phone just to make sure that I'm actually where I told you. But for very many people, it comes as being a controlling, like a control freak.
Kind of thing, yeah? Well, for me, what I have to say about infantilization is the fact that for parents, I think they actually do it subconsciously, and it actually comes from a good place, because, I mean, here you have a child, they're still trying to forge their own paths, you know, still trying to get into their own decision making. So maybe they need a little bit of push, but where you start to still infantilize them when they're adults, it becomes a problem. Also, infantilization is just not the other way around of, you know, someone is in control and they have to be, you know, like maybe say older than you or a little bit superior. We also see ourselves as people who have maybe, let's say, older parents infantilizing them because you do not trust their decision making. You do trust, you know, you don't trust them to do anything on their own. You have to help them. You have to remind them, wake up in the morning. Have you swallowed your medicine? I'm going to pack your suitcase. You know, like you're doing almost everything for them. Like they wouldn't even be able to take care of themselves in the first place. But for relationships, I have to say, if you are in a relationship where you're being infantilized, there's a likelihood that you're dating a psychopath. Yeah.
Oh yes.
You have to remind
you are a psychopath yourself.
Oh yeah,
maybe.
You have to remind yourself every single day, if you are in a relationship and you find yourself infantilizing your partner, that hey, this is my partner, this is my equal. You know, they're not your child. You have to remind yourself of that. Even if your partner, by the way, is, you know, childish or immature, like people use, like normally put it that way, you have to remind yourself that actually this person has their own mind. Let me trust in their decision making.
But you know, there are people who like to be treated that way, and I think
yes, we shall get there. Yes, we shall get.
Okay.
We shall get there. Now, still, let's actually now get into the conversation, just like you brought it up. How do people actually put themselves in these places? Do they actually? Some people actually deliberately do these things because maybe they need something in return. But you know, walk us through how some of these things happen.
For example, I'll give an example. There are people that have grown up in homes or families, or the only thing they have known is that even as an adult, I am still being treated as a child. There are some women who like to be treated that way by their spouses, by their men. There are some men who like women who treat them like that because it reminds them that, oh, this woman is actually like my wife, which is such a toxic way to be in a relationship.
Yes.
Exactly. Like you're dating someone, you're married, but you want your wife to treat you like a child because that is what you saw your mom doing, and it's a whole infertilization agenda. But I would say there are people who actually enjoy being treated that way. There are people who enjoy being pampered because we have the notion of a child is normally pampered, is normally given what they like, you know, they're not given benefit of doubt and all these things. There are people who actually enjoy being controlled. There are women who say, if you do not call me 5 times a day asking where I am, then you don't love me. Like I want you to be on my case.
Exactly.
No, but there are people. But now you see the thing
behavior.
is, I don't think it comes from a psychopathic kind of view. I think it's something that some women have grown up in.
Really?
Like, for example,
So do
there are
you think-
women
yes.
who take pleasure in their husbands beating them. Did you know?
That's
And
joke, Ziti. How would you take pleasure?
but there are people who live like that.
which
My
is
point
a bad
is,
thing.
if you don't beat
Yes,
me, you
it
don't
is a
love
bad.
me.
Yes, it is
Yeah.
a bad thing, but we cannot neglect the fact that there are some people who have grown up in this kind of situations, and that is the only way they know how to be shown love. Call me 5 times a day. Look at yourself.
Let's talk about people who
Yes.
deliberately put themselves in situations of being infantilized.
Besides what Shivan says, I would think that these people usually are either mama's boys or daddy's girls who have, you know, been pampered all through their lives, things being done for them, or maybe people who have been privileged to grow up in rich families where you have servants, everyone doing things for you. So you expect that even when you get into a marriage, if let's say your partner cannot, you know, afford to get you the servants that you might need, then they should be able to do certain things for you, like wash for you your clothes and all those things. And it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. You'll find when there's a certain lady, well, I've actually seen a man who married a very beautiful woman from Toroko district, and this lady was pampered all through her life. She never did anything. This gentleman did everything for this lady, from washing to cooking to everything. She was a princess seated back at home, because I mean, by the
That's
time
the
this man
lifestyle.
got this lady,
Yeah.
that's the lifestyle. So he knew that he had to live up to that. But then again, I think that people who love this kind of thing want to run away from adult responsibilities. You don't want to take care of your things. You don't want to be tidy. You don't want to be responsible for any chores in the house. So you want to be pampered. It's like an escape kind of thing that you put up so that you not be doing any responsibilities back at home. So honestly, for me, well, that's what I would think.
Yeah. So Sarah.
I think we're mistaking infantilization with narcissism and people who are controlling, and with people who like to be loved in a certain type of way. I'll just say this: when somebody says they want to be called 5 times a day, probably that's their love language. You don't want to be infantilized, because if I want you to check on me, frequently, that is just what makes me feel wanted, needed. Or that person could be just being needy for some other reasons, you understand, but not infantilization. When it comes to infantilization, that is when parents treat their adult children like their adult children when they are grown up, like kids. And that stems from the parent feeling that the child's independence is a threat to their bond. You understand? So you insert yourself in every decision that your child is making because you are afraid that they're going to leave you.
Yeah.
You get? And I don't think it's something that happens. I personally don't think it's something that happens intentionally. It's something that happens subconsciously. Because this is your baby. Mothers say this a lot. My child is always a baby. Yeah. Even when they are 30, even when they are 50, they are still my baby. You get it. So parents find it difficult to let go and let their children be their own person, because that when they become independent, they're afraid, like I said, it threatens their relationship. Now, when it comes down to a relationship aspect, a person who treats their other partner like a child is someone who is controlling, who feels they are superior and wants to control the narrative. Okay?
Don't you think the illusion of control actually brings forth the notion of narcissism?
It does, yes, and so does infantilization, because infantilization, it does bring forth the notion of narcissism, because again, let me go back to the aspect of parents.
Yeah.
When parents are infantilizing their children or controlling their children, they see their children as an extension of themselves. You cannot ashame me, you get? So I'm going to control your actions so that you don't ashame me. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
But when it comes down to couples, when somebody is infantilizing one person, they are trying to control because they see themselves superior to you. And that is why, because the biggest example would be like people are saying that when people say that children cannot have a voice or a mind of themselves, so they need decisions to be made for them. So they're going to treat you that way because they think that you are lower than they are, they think that you're more immature than they are, they think that they are superior to you, so they're going to control you. Yeah.
Yes. Well, for me, what I have to say about the issue of people putting themselves in a position where they're infantilized is
infanticized.
Infantilized.
Infanticized.
Infantilized, yes. Yeah. The people who put themselves in that position, it's because, like you say, they are very lazy. They are very lazy and they don't want to take on their personal responsibilities. Others, it's subconscious. You don't even know you're doing it.
Some are being abused and they don't know that they are. But you see, I don't think you put yourself in a situation where you want to be infantilized. Because even kids, you find a 5-year-old saying, don't bathe me, I can bathe myself, I'm a big girl.
But what happens? What happens when you come from a society where men are the leaders, men are in control, and you find the very same traditional man who believes in the same exact sentiments?
Then that comes
going to control you, even without you knowing
that
it.
comes down to oppression and patriotism, not infantilization, because men are trying to be superior. That is, again, they're quite similar, but quite different at the same time. Because people are not going to put themselves in a situation where they're going to have their rights, their needs, and wants oppressed. Do you understand what I mean? For you to be in that situation, that's the thing. It's what you know, but you're not intentionally putting yourself there because that is your norm. You've come from a place where everything has been done for you. You've been able to make a decision on your own.
Yes.
And then now you need everybody's approval, or go ahead to do something, or to say something, or to dress a certain type of way. You're not intentionally there. Who is going to say, I'm going to intentionally put myself in a situation where somebody decides for me? No, you don't know that. It comes from a place of you having been probably having faced some form of abuse for a very long time, that now this becomes your normal. And when somebody does that to you, somebody's making your decisions, dictating how you dress, what you eat, where you go, what you do for a living.
It's too much.
What about women who say, I want to get married to a man who is about 15 years older than me because they are leaders? They don't want
more
more mature and they are leaders because they
responsible.
want a leader and they want someone who treats them like a child. I don't know. Pampers them like, yes, there is
gives
ladies
them
who say
liberty?
Because you
those
see,
things,
when
yes.
someone is in a position of treating you as if like they're your parent, they're going to do everything for you.
Everything,
Exactly.
And some people really like that.
Let
And
stuff.
that is why I was
say
saying there are
this.
some women who are drawn by this. They actually do not see it as infertilization as a bad thing. They see it as a good thing, something that they derive pleasure from, because they want to be taken care of. They want to be pampered. They want, to live a princess sort of life, and that is what they want.
And they know that if they marry an edge mate, they probably won't get that
Exactly,
kind of
like
treatment.
Let me tell you-
the treatment you
let
get
me
from
tell
a
you
man
why-
that is way mature is totally different from a treatment you'll get from these
Someone
young,
who's,
young.
Let me
the
tell
same
you
age
why
group.
women go for older men, 10, 15, 20, 30 years older than them. They could even be 100 years older, because these women are looking for stability. They're looking for stability. They don't want to be treated like a child. She's looking for stability. She's looking for security. She's also securing the bag, because if she knows that this man is 70 plus years, anytime now I'm about to become a rich widow. It's not that I want to be treated like a child. These women are securing the bag.
Yeah.
Because why would you go for a man?
Yes.
Why would you go for a man 20, 30, 40 years older than you? It's not love.
Okay, well,
Would
guys,
you want to marry your grandpa? No, grandpa has a bag.
Trust me, it's different. It's different.
Why are you breaking relationships
have
this
that
morning?
They are literally going for wetege or sirike. Give
yeah,
it
that
time.
kind of thing.
When you just hear him, anytime now. Anytime.
But there's those who just want that kind of treatment.
Not
Yes,
me.
no, actually,
I'm saying this because I've had ladies who have actually
It's
told
true.
me that.
I
Because
would
that
say it is
they
true.
want to get married to a man who's like 15 years older than them, because they'll probably, bring them breakfast in bed. I don't know,
But
take
you can
them to
never
the mall.
know. You can never know what's
all
going
those
through
kind
a
of
woman's
business
mind.
treatment. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, guys, let's get back into the conversation. Let's look at some of the signs of infantilization. Number one is waking your partner up in the morning. When they're traveling, you pack your partner's suitcase. You are overprotective.
You see?
Yes?
Like, I would love that. I would love that.
You'd love your partner
I
packing
would
your...
love my partner to pack my suitcase.
I wake you up in the morning?
Yes!
Because you
That's
don't
very
want to be
romantic.
responsible for your own
Exactly.
things,
I don't
yeah.
want to pack my suitcase. So if he's willing to pack it, why not?
So now, you see, this is why I like such conversations. At the end of the day, you get to realize that, what you think is normal.
such a bad thing.
Yeah, it's such a bad thing. Someone else, views it as something that is so beautiful. Like,
I have no problem.
You're
you
speaking
see-
my love language, so...
I don't think a grown person is, I want to be treated like a child. It's your love language. And we know what the love languages are. Words of affirmation, physical touch, gifts, acts of service.
Acts of, yeah.
That is an
That's
act of service.
service.
Acts
Yeah,
of
that's
service.
service.
It's
Acts
not
of service.
infantilization.
Love language, yes.
But
Mine
it's
is
acts
actually
of
quality
service.
Okay, we shall get to the effects of infantilization, but let's first, finish up with the signs. Then the other sign that you're actually, the sign of infantilization is the fact that you are the official reminder person in your family, whether it's take medications, finish chores, or be on time somewhere. You also believe one of your roles is to correct your partner's behavior. You believe that, this is upon me to make sure my partner is in the right space. That's why I said, sometimes you have to remind yourself that you are not this person's father or mother. That's your partner, that's your equal. In no way should you treat them like a child, And the other bit is that you buy your partner's clothes. who mentioned it? I think one of you mentioned it, and you said,
Buy
you
your
know,
partner's clothes.
yes.
You see, I like the fact
You're
that
buying your partner. You're buying your partner clothes, but you're not
according
to what you think they should wear, not what they want.
Okay.
You get the difference. Yeah.
But isn't it such a beautiful thing
No,
to
it's
want your
not.
partner to look a certain type of way? There are men who like women who go ahead and buy for them according to their own tastes, not
That is
them
taking,
as men.
that is taking
Now,
their
are you
identity
aware that there
away
are
from
some
yourself.
men
We shall get into some of the
that.
we shall get into some of the effects of infantilization. So yeah, let's get down with the science. The last one is the second last is you fill out medical or legal forms for your mate. Now that's crazy to me. You know, you should be able to fill out some of these things yourself, especially now that we understand infantilization comes from a place where you're not even suffering from any mental disorder or you have any physical incapability. You know, like they should be able to let you, do some of these things for yourself. Then the last bit is you keep track of your partner's belongings, like eyeglasses, car keys, wallets. You're in charge of their money, how they spend their money, what money they are spending that particular day. So I don't think you want that. Do you want that, Shivan? Okay, let's get into the effects of infantilization, ladies. How damaging or how good do you think infantilization is?
I think it can be dehumanizing for a person, especially when you go into public and you humiliate your partner. You may not know that you're doing it, but you humiliate your partner by, fixing their hair, telling them correct your posture, or, cleaning dirt off their shirt. Some people may look at it as, oh, she's being affectionate, or this person is being affectionate, but then other people would be like, come on, stop it.
Stop
Are
it.
you being ridiculous? And then it also undermines someone's individuality, because you cease to be an individual of yourself. If somebody is constantly making decisions on your behalf, somebody is constantly picking what you wear, constantly deciding where you go, what you eat, dictating your diet and all that stuff, it just,
Dehumanizes someone.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it takes away your individuality. And it can also just negatively impact you in a way that, let's talk about people who have had partners who have done everything for them, like spouses who have done everything. And then the event that the spouse either leaves or passes away. And now this person is left lost, incapable of taking care of themselves. They are not resilient. They are not a reliable person. They don't know how to do anything
by themselves.
Without the partner. So it definitely hinders your mental growth also as well.
As a person, yes.
Yeah.
So I would think that it marginalizes like your partner's abilities, because if I'm capable of doing so many, like about 5 things, but you want me to do what you want me to do, then definitely, if I want probably to venture into business, if I want to venture into a certain career, or it could be anything, but you're the one making decisions for me. You want me to do what you want me to do. Definitely it will take away a lot of, from my abilities, it will take away from my feelings as well. And like we mentioned earlier, this is very toxic and narcissistic behavior, because that relationship cannot work out. You want to be in a position or in a relationship where you are allowed to be yourself. You need to love me for me. I need to love you for you. And take you for who you are, and not try to impose my own beliefs, my own, every other thing that I want on you. You can't be in a situation where you want me to dress the way that you feel is can be appreciated by your friends. I've heard of a situation where there's this certain lawyer who was dating this lady, and because in their crew they're always wearing suits, and now you want me to conform to that and wear suits every day because you want your friends to appreciate me and be like, oh, much as she's not a lawyer, she seems like a lawyer.
Yeah, she understands.
That's very undermining. I would never want to be in such a relationship. I don't know how people manage to be in those relationships.
Shivan.
After listening to all the submissions, I have realized that infantilization is actually not such a bad thing, depending on who is doing it and who it is being done to. There's some of the signs that you mentioned in there, and I would love it if my partner did that.
Did
I would
those
have
things for you.
Yes, I would. It would actually take a great load from me. But looking at some of the side effects or the effect of actually being infantilized is, one, there is an identity confusion because you're not sure if you're a child or if you're an adult. The other one could actually be self-doubt, because you're constantly doubting yourself. If your partner is the one who is constantly doing things for you, then you doubt that you can actually take on a certain challenge by yourself. But what happens if your partner or if your parent is no longer in the picture? Would you be able to pay a car? Those are some of the questions that you would want to ask yourself. If your partner got an issue and it was, for example, there is an automatic car, and what other car? automatic
Manual,
manual car.
yes.
Would you be able to operate a manual car if your partner wasn't around and if he's the one who has been operating it for you?
For you.
So I would say to an extent, it's not such a bad thing depending on who is doing it and who it is being done to, and also your love language. So all those three get intertwined.
Coupled together. Well, looking at the effects of infantilization, we see self-doubt. Shiva did mention that, and gave like a very nice opinion on that. And the other bit is extreme anxiety about making decisions. Yeah, that one is very, very key. You get to a point where you have to make decisions for yourself, but you're used to this person doing every single thing for you. So it becomes such a challenge. You're not sure if you're doing the right thing. You're just there and you're anxious. And we all know what anxiety does to most of us. Yeah. Shout out to everyone who has that. Please keep it in keep it in check. Yeah, keep it in check. It's a thief. It's a lie. I do not believe it. Well, the second effect of infantilization is lack of confidence. You did speak up on that as well. Identity confusion as well. You did speak on that. Then also the inability to commit. Yeah. As well as lack of direction. If someone is constantly doing things for you, directing what you should do, like Sarah did, expound on that, then you're going to be left, lost. You're not going to know even what you're doing with your life. And we all know those effects: depression, your mental health is compromised, and so on and so on and so on. So ladies, as you summarize in very, very, very few seconds, in probably 30 seconds, tell us about ways people can actually stand up for themselves if they're being infantilized, in just 10 seconds as you wrap up, because we are out of time.
Boundaries. You always have to draw your boundaries and do not compromise on them. And then again, when you draw boundaries, you have to think carefully before you just say blatter out things, but you have to know your boundaries and ask people to respect them. Actually, you need to tell people and show people how you want to be respected.
Okay, yes.
For me, I would say just communicate. Be able to communicate how you feel, how you want to be treated. Everything is about communication at the end of the day.
Stick to your identity. Know who you are. Stick for your goals. Stick to your principles. Do not be persuaded by what your partner wants to do for you. But if you want to be pampered, it is okay to be treated like a child even when you're an adult.
Yes, well, you had all the views from the ladies. What I would have to say about if you're out there and you feel like infantilization is really pressing down your neck, please, for the perpetrator, understand that you're taking away someone else's power, and that is not something that you should be doing. And for yes, and then the other victim, you have to understand that at the end of the day, you should have your own control. If it means you're going to therapy, please do it. Well, the conversation continues on our social media platforms, that is Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CTV Uganda. This is Sunrise at Sea. My name is Priva Elibaz. Good morning.
And well, that's all we had for you today on this episode of Sunrise at Sea right here on CTV. I hope you had a lovely time with us on the show, just like we did with you. Please connect with us across all social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and that is at CTV Uganda. We come live to you every morning on our website, www.ctv.co.ug, on Facebook as well, and on GoTV, on Start Times, and free to air. Today on the Twitter Jabs, we did talk about railway infrastructure and safety. And I just want to leave you with this clause so that you keep it in mind every time you come to a railway crossing. Well, the Uganda Railway Corporation Act of 1992, that is Section 41, subsection 5, says that, and it gives a train right of way at all level crossings. So please be careful. And it also goes on to say that the railway corporation is not liable for any accidents or deaths that occur on the railway line. So please, I beg you, look left, look right before you cross a railway crossing, and always park. If you're in traffic, be 15 meters away from the railway line, and if you cross, make sure that you are 15 meters away from it. Please also look out for any railway signs, and please follow those. If you're traveling at night on a railway line, please look left, look right, and turn down your music, turn down any distractions. It is very serious. Mr. Sengendo, the spokesperson of the Uganda Railway Corporation, said that the accidents on the railway line are rare, but doesn't mean that they still don't occur. So please protect yourself, take the initiative so that you're not the next victim. From here at Sunrise at Sea, our hearts, our prayers, and our thoughts go out to the families of the victims who lost their lives. May their souls rest in eternal peace. And that is all we have for you. Until tomorrow, same time, same place, from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Keep it right here at CTV. Bye-bye.